What's up, guys? This is the Nick Beasley Show. I'm a little sick this week, but I do have my podcast partner, Rodney, on with me. I'm fired up for it. I'm excited about it because, guys, if you did not know, today is November 5th. A lot of trades are happening. That's the only thing happening in America. These trades, man. NFL trade deadline. Everybody, the whole world's talking about it still today. All the trades that happened. Today's just the craziest day because everybody loves this day, and there's not going to be any controversy after this day, right? Nobody's going to be upset over these trade results, right? As Pat McAfee said, trade fast and trade often. But let's get into some of these NFL trade deadline moves. And buddy, I sent you the list earlier.
Hmm.
We're gonna take a look at it, all the trades that have kind of happened.
Right.
So today you had Marshawn Lattimore go to Washington. I love
Hmm.
this move for the Commanders. I thought they needed a good defensive back to help with their back end. Obviously, you have a superstar quarterback in Jaden on his rookie deal, so you can do things like this.
Right.
Not to mention the running back who's on his rookie deal, and Brian
Mm.
Robinson. You've got Scary Terry, who is an aging receiver but still great. You've got Luke McCaffrey on his rookie deal. You've got a lot of guys on their first or second year deals. I love this move. What do you think about this?
I think with Marshawn Lattimore, he's bringing that experience to the defensive side for a young team with the Commanders, and they're 7-2. They're seven. They got 7 wins this season. This has been a surprise season for the Commanders, and I think adding Marshawn Lattimore is bringing that veteran experience to the defensive side to get them pushing towards the playoffs. Because there's a slight chance, even with Philly being 6-3, there's a slight chance that Washington is going to win the division this year. And with Jaden Daniels playing out of his mind like he's doing, adding Marshawn Lattimore, that's going to bring in some help on the defensive side that can help them more scarier heading into the playoffs. But is it enough against Detroit? I don't know about that.
No, dude, I don't think it's enough against Detroit. But to be fair, I don't think you could trade anybody and have enough to beat Detroit right now, the way they're looking.
Right,
We're going to talk about Detroit because they made a massive move today that has been speculated for weeks. It's about time it happened.
right.
Uh, we also had obviously Devontae went to New York, what, 2 weeks ago? We've kind of already said our
Mm.
piece on that. Now, a couple weeks removed, though, I like the move more than I did before because of also what the Jets did today. So I think it's going to open up the passing game more for Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard. And Devontae will be the guy that takes the defense out, just burdens the DBs. I think that's. I think if they had made this move and made the move they made today, 2 weeks ago, I would have felt a lot better about it. I feel a lot better about the Devontae trade now than I did 2 weeks ago because of what they did today. What do you think?
Well, with them getting Mike Williams, if he's healthy, you do got, 4 receivers that's definitely going to help out your offense. You got Alan Lazard, like you said, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Mike Williams. They have a pretty solid running game. So the offense, is gonna look pretty solid. But the thing is it going to be enough to make the playoffs though? I highly doubt it because in their division, you got the Bills is obviously going to win the division, the
Oh yeah,
AFC East. So the
right.
Bills are obviously going to win. But with the Jets, the problem is that looking at next year, is Aaron Rodgers even going to be there because he's 40 years old. He doesn't have that much time left. So is it going to be enough to make the playoffs? I will say no. Will it look good though? Yes, but I do not think it's enough for the Jets to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean the AFC is pretty stacked right now. Like you look at the AFC North, realistically, three of those four teams can make the playoffs. The Cincinnati is still in it, even though they're
Right,
struggling, even though they're banged up. They're still in it because Joe Burrow is still there.
right,
Pittsburgh has surprised all of us with how they're doing.
right.
Baltimore is clearly the cream of the crop in that division. You've got Kansas City. The Chargers. The Chargers could be a toss-up. They could make a run. Casey's obviously going to win the division. Um, Denver could surprise some people. I know a lot of people aren't high on Denver because of Bo Nix and because Sean Payton and a young team, and I really think at they're 5-4 right now.
Yes, they are. They're 5-4.
They could go 9-8 and make the playoffs as a 7 seed.
Mm,
You're not going to see anybody out of the AFC East probably other than Buffalo. You'll see the probably three teams, maybe just two out of the North. You'll see at least one out of the West. I think you could see two with LA if LA gets it going. And then the South, the Texans are really the only one because the Colts. I don't know if the Colts are making it.
well, funny thing that you mentioned the Colts because I don't know if you heard. So there were some teams that did call the Colts on Anthony Richardson, and they said that he is off the tables. They are not trading Anthony Richardson. What do you think
That was the
about
right
that?
call.
Because it's just the thing is that I just don't understand everything that's going on with Anthony Richardson. He barely played in high school. He only started 13 games in college, and then for him to pull what he pulled, a couple weeks ago, that really pissed me off with Anthony Richardson because I want him to succeed. But what he did, calling like coming out of a game because he's tired. Lamar
Yeah, Kevin
Jackson
Tucker.
runs Lamar runs way more than him. He never came out of the game because he's tired. All these mobile quarterbacks, you look back,
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton, Michael Vick, Russell Wilson, Randall Cunningham, they were running, a lot of them, they were running for their lives. Have they ever came out of a game because they're tired? Absolutely not. So that really pissed me off for what happened with Anthony Richardson. But but is his career over with? Absolutely not. But could you call him a bust? It's really a toss up. I think give him probably one more year, and if he does not perform, next year with the Colts, because Joe Flacco probably will retire after this season, then yeah, I think it's fair to call Anthony Richardson a bust.
See, I'm the difference with Anthony. I think his career is very similar to that of Trey Lance's,
Mhm.
where Trey didn't play a lot in college because of COVID. He couldn't really play a lot and all everything that went on. And like the FCS, they canceled their season, and it was. I think Anthony needs to get out of Indianapolis. I think he was a lot more like Zach Wilson was. I don't think he was worth the fourth round pick or the fourth pick in the draft.
Right.
I think they should have taken Will Levis. Now, some people might say, you look at what Will's doing and you think that's crazy. I think Will needs to get out of Tennessee. I don't think it's Will. I think it's the spot. Will at Kentucky was great. I watched him. As an Alabama fan, I watched him. As a football fan, watched him. I think Will Levis has the potential to do what Sam Darnold is doing, what Baker Mayfield is doing. He's a hothead.
Hmm.
He's weird, but he's got all this talent. He just needs the right coach and the right fit. I don't think that's in Tennessee. You also have to think this is his second head coach in his second year. With
True.
Anthony, it's the same system, same coach, but in the NFL, the coaches aren't coaching to develop the player. The coaches are coaching to win football games. So they're going to go with who
Right.
they believe can win the football games, and they know Joe Flacco can win football games.
Right.
So I think Anthony and Will need to get out of their respective areas, go somewhere else, figure it out. They said it. I think it was on the broadcast. A great guy for Anthony to talk to, Sam Darnold,
Yeah.
a guy that didn't play a lot in college, that struggled in his NFL at the first part of his NFL career, bounced around a little bit, found a home in Minnesota, and now he's playing MVP level football. Another guy, Baker Mayfield. In fact, I think there's more similarities between Will and Baker than there are between Anthony and Sam.
Right.
or Anthony and Trey. I'm not ready to count Anthony out. I just think it doesn't need to be in Indianapolis.
Well, could you say the same thing about Bryce Young? Because Bryce Young is going through the same sort of the same situation.
No, yeah. When Bryce got drafted to Carolina, I felt bad for him. I'm saying the same thing about Caleb Williams this year. You look at the Bears organization, Eberflus and Waldron are gone after this year. They're gone. And they said something today where the Bears are repeating history. Trubisky, they came in, he had a coach. That coach gets fired after 1 year, replace him with somebody else. Then Nagy comes in.
Right.
Justin Nagy then replaces him after 1 year.
Right.
Caleb's going to be the same way. I think Chicago, Indianapolis, and Carolina are the three worst places for a young quarterback to go right now.
Maybe even Tennessee as well.
No, I think Tennessee would be a good spot if the coach matches the culture. I don't think Brian Callahan's the right coach.
So we do got someone in the comments. He's asking, taking away the injuries, do you feel the same way? Do you feel the same about the last few years in terms of development and performance for Tua? Well, I don't think it's the same way for Tua because Tua has shown that he is a good quarterback. And with the Dolphins, it seems like the system without Tua is not that good. And I'm not taking away McDaniel's coaching, but the thing is that it's just the system doesn't look the same without Tua. Compare the stats when Tua is around and compare the stats of the offense without Tua. Look at the stats of Tyreek Hill with Tua. Look where it was at without Tua. That instantly proves that Tua is the guy for the Dolphins. Absolutely. And I just think that McDaniel just needs to develop a better offensive scheme, say if Tua is not playing. And Tua has definitely proved he's proven he's not a system quarterback because that system is terrible without Tua.
Now you say you're not blaming McDaniel and his coaching. As a Dolphins fan, and we're going to get into the Dolphins later, I watched that game Saturday or Sunday. We should have won that damn football game. There is no reason the Bills should have beat us. But, in my professional take, I will say, I think Mike McDaniel is a Tua merchant. The way people always call Tua a Tyreek merchant, that Tua can't do it without Tyreek, McDaniel can't do it without Tua. And he's proven it. And you want to say, well, he was in San Francisco and he was he was the ball boy. He was not helping Kyle Shanahan coach.
So Anthony also said he's a Dolphins fan just like you, and he thinks that McDaniel is one-dimensional in terms of his system. It's so focused on Tua, he refuses to adjust it to his backups. That's why the backups have struggled. I actually do agree with that because McDaniel, and also if you look back 2 years ago, I think it was 2022 when the Dolphins made the playoffs against the Bills and Tua was out. That offense did not look good without Tua. And
don't remind me of that.
And then last year you had against the Chiefs. I seriously do think had the Chiefs, had the Dolphins played, in Miami instead of, the cold Kansas City, there's a slight chance the Dolphins would have won that game.
A game that shouldn't have even happened because it was too cold?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Teams that are used to warm weather, warm, sunny weather, you get them to a city like New Jersey or Buffalo or Chicago, times where the temperature is below 0 degrees. Your offense, your team is going to play a lot different because of that weather. And people that say, "Oh no, the weather doesn't affect the team," absolutely, yes, it does. Imagine going
Oh, no.
to imagine coming from a city that's over 80 degrees to a city that's 20 below zero. Tell me how much that affects you.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the weather had an impact on that game. I mean, even Mahomes' helmet was cracking. That's how cold it was. So it had an impact. But you got to play in the conditions that you're given.
Right.
Now let's get back to this trade talk.
Yeah.
We'll answer comments in a minute, guys. DeAndre Hopkins in Kansas City. All I gotta ask is, hey Miami, you're telling me D Hop was available for a fifth? A fifth? You don't think he'd like to be in South Beach, hanging out with Tyreek and Jalen and OBJ?
She got Patrick
He could
Mahomes
probably
right
play
now.
quarterback when Tua's hurt.
He's got Patrick Mahomes, but this is pretty much almost
I
a
blame the Bills.
guaranteed ring.
I blame the
Yeah,
Bills.
I probably would have said if they did not get Amari Cooper, I think D Hop probably would have looked great with Josh Allen.
I'm not even saying that. I blame them because you made the Chiefs look even better because you gave them the draft pick that drafted Xavier Worthy. So you made it easy for DeAndre Hopkins to be like, well, yeah, trade me to KC because I don't have to be, I'll be the number one receiver, but you also have a superstar tight end and a young thoroughbred receiver that's great that I can work with. Oh, and my quarterback gets to be the guy that's compared to the GOAT. How did the
And plus,
NFL allow this to happen?
and the thing is with the Chiefs, like, and if you also got to look at the teams and disrespect, would you rather go to a team that is playoff, like they're a playoff team, but not a Super Bowl contender, or a team that's almost penciled in for the Super Bowl, and you have a already a top five quarterback all time?
No, I don't disagree with D Hop's decision. What I'm saying is, how did Roger Goodell, because you can't tell me he doesn't get that information on his desk. How did he allow that to go through? Because the NBA has kept trades from going through before that would make a team too dominant. How did we let that get past Roger Goodell? Then one of the best wide receivers in history, a bona fide guaranteed Hall of Famer, goes to Kansas City to be with a Hall of Fame coach, a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame tight end, a Hall of Fame defense, a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. Tell us it's scripted without telling us? Like,
Pretty much.
who's going to beat them other than maybe the Ravens?
And I'm going to be honest, man. Even though they're undefeated right now, they're still undefeated. They just beat the Bucks last night, 30-24. I'm not too impressed with Kansas City because look at their past games. They never scored over 30 points. I mean, their defense is still doing what they're doing, but Patrick Mahomes has just not looked as dominating as he's done the past few seasons. Now, Kansas City, they're still the team to beat. It just haven't looked that too impressive to me. I'm gonna sound
Yeah.
crazy because they're undefeated, but compared to like the '07 Patriots, it's night and day. You get what I'm
See,
saying?
I think they look more impressive because they're banged up, right? They don't have Rasheed Rice. They don't have Isaiah Pacheco. Travis Kelsey's aging. He's 36. D Hop is also 36. Mahomes isn't playing his best. He's got more interceptions than he does touchdowns. They're finding a way to win games. And they've even admitted, like Travis Kelsey said it last night on the post game, hang with us, Chiefs Kingdom. Our offense will figure it out. They haven't even hit their peak of what the offense can be. and their defense is just winning games for them. I mean, like you saw. I don't know if you've seen the clip yet, but like last night in the coin toss, they showed the close up. As soon as it went to heads, and Mahomes had the option to get the ball, Baker looked down, looked up, shook his head. He knew it was over. He knew it
Hmm.
because Mahomes in the playoffs, you don't want him to have the ball at the end of the game. Mahomes
Nope.
in the regular season, you don't.
Nope.
The only way they were going to win is that defense, if Tampa's defense stopped them, and they hadn't stopped them all night.
Right.
So they're not playing their best yet, and they're still beating teams that they could absolutely lose to.
Right.
And we'll look at their schedule because I don't see a loss for them at all. Looking at
And
their
to
maybe
be
Buffalo because it's at Buffalo.
because to be honest, if you really look at the games that they played, they should be like 4-4 right now. They should have lost to Baltimore, they should have lost to Cincinnati, and they should have lost to Atlanta. So they should be like 4-3 right now.
They should have lost to Tampa.
And
I
if it
and
Tampa should have went for two that touchdown.
I blame Todd Bowles for not going for two. Like I don't care what the situation is. You have an option to either win the game or go for two or tie it. Why take a tie and force overtime? Or better yet, because there was like 24 seconds left, you can't tell me you don't remember a few years ago in the playoffs when the Chiefs had 15 seconds on the clock and they went down the field on Josh Allen and scored.
I
Josh
remember that
Allen,
game.
everybody thought Josh won the game. I
Yep.
thought it. I turned the game off. I was like, oh, this
I
game's
remember.
over. And then my buddy texts me and he's like, dude, Chiefs scored. I'm like, what? Like, yeah. I'm like, how? I don't know. They just got down the field.
You can't. It's just like with Tom Brady.
But
Give him a little bit of time.
you
He's
play
gonna
for the
hurt.
win. You play for the
Yep.
win. And Tampa could have played for the win. There's not a guarantee you get the 2-point conversion, but you know what you guarantee? That Mahomes isn't
Right.
going to get the ball at the end of the game.
Right.
At least not with a chance to go back and win.
Right.
Because you get that 2-point conversion, you then have to kick off. You could probably squib kick it. That runs down about 10, 15 seconds. And the Chiefs' offense is not that dominant this year. As fast as Worthy is and as good as Hopkins is, I don't think either one of them get down the field. Plus, Mahomes was playing on a bad ankle because he had just got hurt on the previous drive.
Hmm.
So you keep a hobbled Mahomes from winning the game. But they didn't do that. They played for the tie and went to overtime and they lost. And I hate that for Baker because I like Baker.
Yeah. Baker has really changed my opinions about him ever since going to Tampa.
Oh, I've
He
always liked
he
him.
he has revamped his career definitely with Tampa, definitely. And I'm looking at the Chiefs right now. I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes' stats. He's almost at 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, compared to Baker, who has 20. Like, no disrespect to Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield has more passing touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. And you can
Like,
argue his are more impressive.
Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield's got 23 passing touchdowns in 9 games. 23.
Dude,
So
look
if
at
he,
Sam Darnold. Look at Jared Goff's stats. He's got more touchdowns than incompletions.
I think Jared Goff is going to win MVP. It's either I will say the three-man race for the MVP.
It's
I
either
say it's
him, Lamar, or Derek.
yeah, I say Goff, Jackson, and Baker.
I say Goff, Jackson, and Henry.
Mm.
Because Baker's going to struggle because he doesn't have his receivers.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to be Goff, Jackson, or Henry.
Mhm.
Because I think Derrick Henry is solely in the MVP conversation. I think you
Right.
have to put Saquon Barkley in it. I think Jaden Daniels should be in it. I can
So
let
it's the
Mahomes
same
be.
thing. So you think with Jaden Daniels, it's the same thing that we were saying last year with CJ Stroud that a rookie could win MVP
I think Jaden's better than CJ. I think Jaden right now is better than CJ.
for this season? Yes.
No, for like his rookie year, for what CJ did his rookie year, I think Jaden is better
Hmm.
because only because nobody expect people expected Houston to be good because their division's bad.
Right.
Nobody expected the Commanders to do anything because
Right.
they did. They had a bunch of old dudes on the defense, and their best receiver is 30 years old,
Right.
and the offensive coordinator for the Commanders is Cliff Kingsbury,
Air
who was
raid.
the Cardinals head coach, and he was terrible.
Air raid.
And
Mr. Air raid.
the head coach for the Commanders, Dan Quinn, who was almost blackballed from being a head coach again in the NFL because of what he did in Atlanta.
28-3.
Don't remind me. I haven't forgiven. I'm not an
And Dan
Atlanta fan,
Quinn
but I've not forgiven
eh,
Tom Brady for that.
and Dan Quinn is a defensive guy. Like I'm a Cowboys fan, so of course I was with him with defensive coordinator. Our defense has just not looked the same ever since Dan Quinn went to Washington. But
Well,
Dan
y'all
Quinn
went to
has
Mike Zimmer.
oh, don't even get me started with that, man.
Oh, we're going to talk about
But
the Cowboys. We're going to talk about the Cowboys.
back to the trade deadline. Pretty much to sum it up with the trade deadline, with every move that was made, who can you confidently say won the trade deadline? Who do you think
Detroit
is the
and Washington.
why Detroit? Now we talked about Washington with Marshawn Lattimore. Let's talk
Yeah,
about Detroit.
because you needed a pass rusher to help since Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. You went and got a superstar that can do that. Yes, he's an aging veteran, but he's a dude that will show up and he will work. Most importantly, him and Marcus Davenport are on opposite sides. So that's two aging veterans. Plus Alex Anzalone and the dudes in the middle. Smith will get double teamed, triple teamed, and that'll open up for Detroit to be able to blitz more, send more pressure. So I think this is a game changer for their team because you can't outscore their offense. And
Right,
if their defense can stop you, you're doing nothing.
right.
What about you? Who was yours?
I will definitely say the winners is absolutely Detroit because you got a team right here. They're basically telling you if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to score 30 or more points because looking at everything that Detroit has done this year. So I'm breaking down every single game of points that Detroit has scored in all of their games this year. 26,
Right.
20, 20, 42, 47, 31, 52, 24. These are all the points that Detroit has scored in every
Right.
game, and they've only lost one time. And look at the points that the opponents have. They're averaging close to 30 points a game scoring. And this is for the opponents. We got 20, 16, 13, 29, 9, 29, 14,
Who
14.
was that 9? Who was the 9?
You're really gonna get
I
me
got a name
started
for
right?
him. All right. Let's. So we both agree Detroit won the trade, right? Won the.
Absolutely.
I'm curious to
Now,
hear your
who do you
opinion.
think? Who do you who are well? Go ahead. Go ahead with your go.
Who do you think lost the trade deadline? I'm curious to hear who you say because I know who I'm going to say.
You really want me to say who
Do it.
who are the losers?
Go ahead. I want to hear what you say.
I told
We
you
gonna
I
talk
had a
about them
lot.
later.
I told you I have a lot to say, so I'm definitely going to get it out the way.
Uh huh.
The losers are absolutely the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, we're
I'm
not
a
done talking
Dallas
about them, by
fan.
the way. I have them on this list.
Oh my gosh, the Dallas Cowboys absolutely lost a trade because you can't run the ball. Your defense is hurt. The offensive line is subpar.
Uh-huh.
Our only offensive weapon is CeeDee Lamb.
Who's
Jake
injured?
Ferguson. Jake Ferguson is a pretty good tight end, but still, you traded for a guy, Jonathan Mingo. He's not even
Well,
a. Is he a true number one receiver or a number two?
he's not even number 3. He wasn't even playing in Carolina.
So let me get this straight. Y'all had a chance to get Saquon. Y'all
All right,
had a
well,
chance to
hold on.
get.
Let me give
Y'all
you
had a chance
context
to.
real quick. The Dallas Cowboys traded for Jonathan Mingo. They gave up a 4th-round pick. Do you know what Kansas City gave up for D-Hop?
A fifth round pick.
So do you understand that Kansas City gave up less for a superstar receiver than Dallas did for a third-string guy? Just to give you context, buddy. And Jerry said that he really believed in him. He was a second-round pick. Mingo was a second-round pick of the Panthers. So how you mean we were overpaying? Because he wasn't worth the second-round pick when they drafted him?
And he was drafted just last year, so that pretty much proves says something. If he was drafted last year
They
and
gave
he's
up on him
pretty
after 1 year.
yes. So what does that tell you?
I don't have to tell you what it tells me. I watched the games. He sucks. I watched him in college at Ole Miss because he went to Ole Miss. He was bad there.
So yeah, pretty much before we get into the next, so I think we pretty much both agreed that the
I'm with Dallas.
Lions, the Lions won the trade deadline, and the Cowboys have lost the trade deadline.
Yeah. Now, let's get into this. Chiefs getting stronger. Travis, hold on. You take it. I'll be right back.
So okay, so yeah, let's go step out a little bit. So the Chiefs, so they're coming off winning their thrilling overtime victory of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 30-24. So they're the only undefeated team, only undefeated team in the season right now. They're 8-0 right now, and things have just been looking very, very great for the Chiefs. So they traded for DeAndre Hopkins, as we already talked about, only for a fifth round pick. So you got a receiver that's going to help you out because obviously you got Rasheed Rice is out, Pacheco is out, Kelsey is in his mid 30s. So all of that is really, not in their favor, but somehow the Chiefs have just done the impossible. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's ref ball and whatnot, but you can't take away that, the Chiefs are just doing everything that they can to, get the job done. They got that championship pedigree. So you can't say, oh, it's ref ball. No, you can't say that. They got the championship pedigree. They're trying to become the first team in NFL history to three-peat. So you can't say that it's ref ball. It's not ref ball. They've already proved that. So it's pretty much cheating right now that they got DeAndre Hopkins, a guy that's going to help their receiving core with Travis Kelsey, on his last leg. He's over 35 and he's getting up there in age and he's thinking more about the next Taylor Swift concert rather than, this season.
Whoa, whoa! Why we gotta throw shots at T Swift? Hey,
Hey,
man.
hey, I'm
Now
keeping I'm saying like how it is.
he was at the concert Saturday night in Indianapolis, but he also had 14 catches for over 100 yards last night. So whatever gets him
But
going.
but he only has one touchdown all season.
I think
Eight
he's okay
games.
with that.
But if you're supposed to be the best tight end in the game, only having one touchdown in 8 games, that's not good.
But he's not the best tight end. It's George Kittle. He used to be. Now it's Kittle and Andrews and Likely and Laporta. So and Brock Bowers, who's playing great. I think the Chiefs
Now,
getting stronger is just. I think as Andy Reid gets older, their team gets better. I think that's what it
right,
is.
right.
I think he's a witch,
This is basically the Patriots of the 2000s and 2010s all over again.
and I hate it. As a
Yeah,
Dolphins fan, I hate it.
and
I mean, you're a
and
Cowboys
pretty
fan. So y'all weren't going to do anything anyway. But as a Dolphins fan, we had hope. That's gone.
pretty much. And the Chiefs are inevitable. If you're going to win the Super Bowl in the AFC, you're going to have to go to the Chiefs, just like teams had to do in the 2000s and 2010s with the Patriots. If you're in the AFC and you want to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to go through the Chiefs. No ifs, ands, and buts.
Yep. I do think the Chiefs three-peat. And I low-key, I might do this because I might try to apply for media for the Super Bowl to like be there that week, just so
I
I
did
can.
too. I applied.
Oh, you've already done it, dude. I
Yeah,
want to do it just so I can see like did you get it?
I don't know. I applied, but I don't know yet. Hopefully
Hey,
we both. Yeah, hopefully you apply, and we can be at the Super Bowl.
if we're there, dude, after the game, I just want to talk to whatever team it is the Chiefs play. If the Chiefs win, I just want to say, so how you doing? You holding up? It's not the end of the world, guys. I know pain, man. I'm a Dolphins fan. I know pain. We will never sniff the Super Bowl because we don't. It's not just the Chiefs we got to go through. We got to get through Buffalo first.
And then you got to go through Baltimore, and then you got to go through Houston.
Hey, CJ Stroud could retire. Lamar could retire. Joe Burrow could retire. Josh Allen's getting older. He could retire.
That's highly unlikely.
A man can dream, can't he?
I think we pretty much said everything we need to say about the
Yeah.
Chiefs. What you think? Yeah.
Now we're gonna get into this Dolphins fall again. I'm gonna take my. I'm gonna take it on this because obviously the Dolphins are my team, and then the next segment you can take it because that'll be about your team.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to know, why does Mike McDaniel hate humans? Why? Why do you? No, like seriously, why do you hate your fan base? Also, Tyler Bass, when in the fuck did you learn how to kick a fucking field goal? Because you missed extra points in that game, bitch. And then you're gonna knock a 61 yarder like it's nothing? Bitch, I will find your house and I will punish you and your family. Fuck your family. Oh, and Josh Allen, you think it's cool that you keep beating everybody and you keep laughing and having fun and you're dating Haley Steinfeld, who nobody ever has fucking heard of before you started dating her? Let me explain something to you, you pedo looking bitch. You ain't the one, buddy. You're not the Tom Brady of this fucking division. We're going to win out. We're going to meet y'all's asses in the playoffs, and we're going to beat the dog shit out of you and send you back to Buffalo like the crybaby back bitches y'all are. And then Kansas City, I want to explain to you Mahomes, Brittany, Jackson, do all the fucking TikToks y'all want. Do all the fucking Taylor Swift concerts you want, Travis. We're coming to dog walk y'all's asses too. And then, hey, Detroit, with your Jared Goff. Jared Goff can suck my fucking dick. I'll beat the fuck out of that kid. I'm not even playing. I'll beat the fuck out of that kid. He's a little bitch. Okay? I would never like Jared Goff. Now, with all that being said, I genuinely want Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel fired. Yep. Fire him.
Lord have
Because none of
mercy.
that's actually going to happen. Because we're never going to make the fucking playoffs. Because we can't even win a fucking ball game.
Oh Woo.
Okay. Now let's go to your subject.
Oh my God.
See how I noticed that? See how I said Dolphins fall again, Cowboys go in off edge? Because you were there, right? You were at the Dallas and Atlanta game?
Oh Lord Jesus, you're gonna have to bring the wheel my end because these Cowboys are really pissing me off. And yes, y'all, I went to the Falcons and Cowboys game because I live in Georgia.
He spent money on this
I
shit.
I am literally freaking done with these freaking Cowboys. Jerry Jones, you are 82 years old. Your old dementia looking ass needs to sit down, freaking retire, give the team to your goddamn son because I am sick and tired
Oh,
of your
yeah,
old
I'm double
ass.
smarter.
Oh my gosh. Like Nick, I cannot tell you how mad I am of these freaking Cowboys. So before we get into the next subject, Nick, because I don't want to take too much time of this, but oh my gosh. So you paid all the money to CD. You paid
Look at
all the
D Hop's
money
contract.
to the DAC. You're gonna have to pay Micah next year. You could have had Derrick Henry. You could have had Saquon. But no, your ass had to get Zeke, who's
Who, by
barely
the way,
done
did not
nothing.
play.
Your ass had to get Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook hasn't even played that much, bro. You did nothing to improve the offensive line. You did nothing to improve your defense. You did nothing to improve your secondary. But you want to say that there's nothing to worry about. Jerry Jones, what are you smoking? I want to know what you're smoking because whatever you're smoking, I want to smoke it too. Because I cannot explain how much agony I have been through this year. Dak turning the ball over, and we are literally the worst team in the league when it comes to rushing. We are the absolute worst team. And then CD is our only weapon on the offense.
He's injured. Oh, and Dak's out for 4 weeks, by the way, guys, just for context. So you've
We
got Cooper Cush.
so we got Cooper Rush for 4 games, and if he gets hurt, we got Trey Lance.
No, I think Jerry will play quarterback.
I'm gonna say this, Nick, and then let's move on to the next subject. I
Yeah.
want Jerry Jones, old dementia ass, to retire. Sell the team. I don't fucking care. I want Mike McCarthy fired. I want Dak Prescott traded. I want Mike Zimmer fired. I want all of you mofos to be gone because clearly we're not making the playoffs this year, and this team is not going to get any better until Jerry Jones is gone from the team. His 82 old ass needs to retire. Period. Period. Yeah, Anthony, he's definitely going to hand the team off to his son because I think he said multiple times he's not selling the team. Like when you're worth billions of dollars and you're the you're the most wealthy franchise in North America, you're not going to sell the
Oh,
team. So obviously Steven is going to get the team when Jerry Jones ultimately retires. But I just don't know how better it's going to get.
I hate to break it to you. I don't know if you've heard it. Jerry compared, this was after the game, by the way, said that he's real disappointed, you know, because he really thought they had a team. But, Michael Irvin, he brought up Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin, he had knee injuries and came back and didn't know if he could come back. And he came back and he won 3 Super Bowls, and Jerry sees that in this team. He said that after the game. I saw it. It's not even really fun to mess with y'all anymore because like it's just sad.
Very sad.
Now let's get to this subject. You take it for a
Absolutely.
minute because I'm gonna step.
So obviously the next subject is the Lions. So I said right now, with them getting, you know, bet some help on the defensive line because Hutchinson is out for the entire year. I can definitely 100% say right now, definitely the Detroit Lions are absolutely the best team in the league. Because like y'all already heard, I read off the points that the Lions have scored, and I read off the points that they've surrendered each game. They've only lost one game. They have looked so darn good. And I've said this to not only Nick, but to everyone else that listened. The Lions definitely won that trade with the Rams. Yes, the Rams won the Super Bowl the next year with Matthew Stafford, but if we're going off for the long run, for the future, the Lions definitely won that trade with the Rams because you got Amon St. Brown, you got Jameer Gibbs, you got Jared Goff, and then when Hutchinson is back, you got Hutchinson, you got Laporta. That offensive line is one of the best in the game, and the defense is one of the best in the game. I don't see any team in the NFC right now that has a good chance of beating Detroit in the playoffs. Washington, they're 7-2 right now. I get it, but they're a young team. This team, Detroit, this is the same team that lost to the 49ers in the conference championship last year. And I truly think that the Lions should have now are hungry. They are pissed off. They're in their minds, they're thinking they should have been in the Super Bowl last year. And I think they should have been last year. Now this year, Dan Campbell, he's leading those men on the field. He has in their head pissed off about last year, thinking they should have been in the Super Bowl last year. Now this year, I just don't see nobody beating the Lions. They beat the
Yep.
two best teams, the other two best teams in their, not only in the NFC but in their same division. The Vikings, who are undefeated, and the Packers, who are 6-3 right now, I believe. So I don't see nobody else in the NFC beating the Lions in the playoffs. Not the
You don't you don't
Redskins,
you don't
not
think
the
Dallas
Packers.
could? I'm
I thought
sorry.
we were done. I thought we were done talking about Dallas.
We're done. I'm sorry. I had to just one last time.
But no, I truly think that the Lions are representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. I just don't see nobody else in the NFC beating the Lions. The
Yep.
Falcons, they're good, but they're not on the level as the Lions. The Commanders, they're young, but I just don't see nobody else in that. And also in the NFC, the NFC West, you got the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. They obviously are not beating Detroit. So, and San Fran, they're not the same team. They're banged up and everything. So, this is the Lions' year to make the Super Bowl. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think they win it because it'll probably be the Chiefs they play, and I think at that time the Chiefs will be playing the best ball of the year. But I do think the Lions can absolutely make it to the Super Bowl, and it'll be a fun game. It'll be what everybody kind of wanted last year, except everybody wanted Ravens Lions, not Chiefs Lions. But still,
Right. Right.
now we're gonna do a little something different. Obviously, it is the NFL Week 9 trade deadline recap, but there is a big time college football game this weekend. I'm a fan of one of the teams, Alabama, and my podcast partner Rodney here is a fan of the other team, LS LSU. I'll respect them, LSU, because I actually like their coach and their quarterback. What's your prediction for this game? Your honest prediction, not just your fandom prediction.
Okay, so the new college rankings came out today. So Alabama is number 11 and LSU is number 14. So obviously looking at the rankings and then looking at their records, they're both 6-2. I think the advantage is definitely going to go to LSU because they're playing at Death Valley. So
at night.
obviously the crowd definitely is going to have a key with the Tigers with Alabama.
They're
Now,
going to be
and
drunk.
also and then also you got to think about it with Alabama, they lost to a team that they shouldn't have lost to earlier this season. So that definitely takes effect what's going on with Alabama. So I will say predictions for the score. I will say, being all honest, I will say it will be a close game. I have LSU winning 32 to 27.
Okay, okay, that's fair. Um, I'll say this: so Alabama, their defense has looked better the last few weeks. Not great, but better. Obviously, the Georgia game was our best defensive game and worst defensive game at the same time.
Right,
Really, it really was a tale of two halves.
right.
Huh. Our offenses look sloppy. Jalen Milrow is not completing passes at a high rate. He's not reading the defense any better. He's literally doing exactly what he did last year, which is driving Alabama fans insane. Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer are not making any changes. Kane Womack isn't really either. He is helping a little bit more in changes, but he's not really making many changes. And I think the 4-3-5 or whatever it is isn't the best defense for us to be in, or the 3-3-5, whatever the defense is. It's not the best defense to play in this conference because this conference runs the ball. I like LSU's receivers on the outside. I love their quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. I think Garrett Nussmeier is a great quarterback. I think he'll be drafted probably pretty early in the draft, maybe second round. I think their defense is young on the back end for LSU, but their linebackers are extremely talented, extremely physical. They play a physical brand of football. Up front on their defensive line, they blitz the crap out of you, and they will run a lot of motion on offense with their receivers. I think LSU wins this game. I think it's going to be 28-25. I don't think it's very close. I think it's close, not high scoring. Because also, this is essentially a college football playoff game.
Pretty
Because the
much.
loser of this game is probably not making the playoffs. And I think LSU is a bit more ready for the playoffs than what Alabama will be because Alabama's so young. Also,
Right.
we only really have one receiver that is branched out. That obviously being the freshman 17-year-old phenom, Ryan Williams. But LSU's got a great coaching staff. You got great coordinators and a great head coach. You've probably made sure to study and bracket Ryan Williams because when he's bracketed, there's nobody else for him to throw to because everybody else hasn't branched out. I would like to see Law branch out. I'd like to see Prentice branch out. I'd like to see us actually use our running backs and Jam and Justice. I think we need to stop just relying on Jalen to make the play. Running on first down, running on second down. Make LSU fear that, hey, if we want to, we can bust one open, but we can also be slow and methodical. But being at LSU at night, then people in Baton Rouge are going to be drunk out of their mind. Because today is also, NFL trade deadline day, the biggest day of the year, and everybody's gonna be fine tomorrow morning. Nobody's gonna be upset about these trades. You know? No, LSU's gonna be drunk out of their mind. It's gonna be a party. And I think the crowd is gonna play a huge factor in this. And
Definitely.
yeah, I really do think LSU wins this game. And I
And
had them pick to win it before the year started too.
Right. And the last thing I just want to say about college football before we get to our next topic with the NFL. Now, so they did release the rankings. I am so happy that Colorado is number 20th. And I just appreciate the work that Deion Sanders has done for Colorado, and especially what
Prime
he's
time, baby.
done for Travis Hunter and Shador, for his son and Travis Hunter. I still have Travis Hunter winning the Heisman Trophy this year. And I do think that Shador, he's probably going to be one of the top five picks going into next year's draft. Because if you're looking at the draft next year, you will also have two other quarterbacks that might be drafted high. Cam Ward out of Miami, and depending on how Texas finish, you have Ewers out of Texas. So I will predict this. I think Shador is going to be one of the top five picks in this upcoming draft next year. I definitely
Oh, he
think
will
that.
be. He will be.
I don't now the question is, will Shador pull a Eli Manning? Because because Dion did say he does not want Shador on a losing team like a Carolina. So I think with Dion, with everything that he knows about, the business and how teams are, I seriously expect him to pull a Archie Manning and say, do not draft Shador because Shador is not going to play for you guys.
I think he'll do it if it's not somewhere either near Colorado or like New York. Now, if it's in Dallas, I don't think I don't think Dallas drafts Shador.
I don't think so either.
And you mentioned, you're wanting Dak traded. That can't happen. You do know that because
Right,
60 million plus he has a no trade clause
right,
and a no franchise tag. So
right.
you're kind of stuck with him for a while. But that's kind of all I had for tonight was those little things. Because I'm sick and I just kind of wanted to do it and make it quick, not be on too long. Is there anything else you want to talk about that we can cover real quick, or you can cover?
So I'm going to say Anthony's last comment. So he was saying that he doesn't think that Travis will win it. That he's going to have to play elite on the offense and the defense. So I do agree with everything that you're saying. I do kind of agree with everything that you're saying, Anthony. But here's the thing you got to understand with Travis Hunter. We haven't seen anyone do anything like this on the offense and the defense since Charles Woodson in 1997. And Charles Woodson, to this day, is still the only guy to win the Heisman Trophy to play offense and defense in the same year. So we haven't seen a season like this in almost 30 years. And Travis Hunter is doing just that. And obviously with Travis Hunter, he's also, I believe, going to be a top five choice in the upcoming draft next year. And of course, you got Genty from Boise State and Ward out of Miami, coming in the Heisman Trophy this year. And then also Shador, who is your own teammate. But I still have faith that Travis Hunter is going to win the Heisman. If Travis Hunter doesn't get it, I will probably say it will go to probably Genty or Ward. But I have Travis Hunter still winning the Heisman Trophy, even with Genty and Ward. But that's pretty much it. That what I had with the Heisman Trophy so far.
And then Anthony also said this, and that's why I'm saying Ward wins the Heisman, not Travis. I don't think Travis is going to have enough stats to justify it. Here's what you have to remember, Anthony. Yes, we haven't seen this since Charles Woodson, but we haven't seen it at this level of production ever. He is
Right.
literally playing both sides of the ball the entire game. He's not taking breaks. Dion doesn't have him on like a snap count on offense, snap count on defense. He's doing it all. Now he's not playing special teams. I don't think that'd be kind of stupid to have him out there on special teams.
Right.
But at this production, at this level, The only thing you see this from like high school kids, like smaller high schools, not a Division I school in the Big 12
Right.
that has enough to have like a what is it, 60-man roster in the college,
Yeah.
52-man. I don't know.
No, they have. I think they have like 70, 60 or 70.
Yeah, and they this it. Travis ain't the only one they have. Apparently, they got a freshman that's just as good. That's just learning behind Travis. They can play both ways to the ball. So Dion's just going to keep turning these kids out. And Dion knows how this works because he played offensive defense. So he'll know how to manage it. And for people saying that he can't play it in the league, that he won't be able to sustain it in the league, shut up. Because Dion did. Dion did it. And I get it. There's going to be some corners. The corners are better now than they were when Dion was there. And the corners were, and the receivers were better, are better now than when Dion was there. But still, we haven't seen it at this level of production ever. I think he'll be fine in the league. We have this comment as well.
Yeah. Well, you do bring good valid points, Anthony. It's just that with everything that's going on with Travis Hunter, I just can't. I just think that makes him the best player in college football right now. And I'll this would be my last comment because I know how you feeling, Nick. So I'm gonna just end it with this with Travis Hunter. That,
Yeah.
like I said, we haven't seen anything like this in years. And then also, Colorado has a chance to win the Big 12 championship. And and if they win the Big 12 championship, they have a guaranteed spot in the college football playoffs. And if Travis Hunter keeps doing this on a big stage, there's no way that Travis Hunter is not going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Oh, you mentioned that. I don't even think there's a way that Travis doesn't get drafted #1 overall. Like if he does what he's doing against like now against a Georgia or a Texas, not a shot anybody's going to pass him in the draft.
Right.
So I think Travis is playing great. Shedeur is also playing great. Shedeur should also be in the Heisman conversation. But yeah, man, I think we're going to end it here tonight. I appreciate everybody for watching, commenting, viewing. Ronnie, obviously, appreciate you being on. Um, Missed last week because I was busy. I'm sick this week, but I had to get it in. We'll be live on Thursday, me, you, along with Josh and Carter to talk Crown Jewel. But yeah, man, I'll see you then. And until then, roll tide.
Go Tigers.